suddenly not confident in who I am anymore. I doubted whether I was who I proved I was.
Dominick Reyes and Jon Jones go the 25-minute distance tonight. And still
And I was just fighting for that. I was fighting for the belt. I wasn't fighting for me. Man, it was so weak. It was so weak of me. No, man, I learned those lessons. It was back to enjoying every day and every little moment and realizing that you don't live forever. Do the most with the time you have. I gotta tell you, man, it feels amazing. It feels amazing to be me. But in order to get to the light, you gotta go to the dark sometimes.
S Dominikem se neznáme osobně, takže nemůžu o něm říct nic, než jen, že je to vynikající sportovec podle toho, co vidím, co se ke mně donáší. Z mé strany němu necítím nic jiného než respekt a jdeme na to.
Hey Fight fans, welcome back to Casuals MMA. I'm Alec, alongside me is co-host Carlos, and this video will be previewing the main event and co-main event for UFC Vegas 25, Reyes versus Prochaska. Let's get into it. So it's crazy to think just a couple years ago, Cub Swanson was ranked number 4 in the featherweight division. He's had a roller coaster of a career. Looking back on it in 2016, he had 5 the year against Doo Ho Choi. He got the win over Artem Lobov. All he needed was one more win. He was pretty much guaranteed a title shot. Unfortunately for him, that fight was against Brian T. City Ortega, and Cub did what he could on the feet. He defended as many takedowns as he could. He looked like he was gonna get choked out in the first round, got saved by the bell, and won the second round. He got caught. He lost the fight. And this is where Cub Swanson takes a little bit of a dive in his career. He fights Frankie Edgar, gets a decision loss. He looked a little gun shy in that fight. Not that entertaining, not the Cub we kind of all know and love. His next loss came at the hands of Hinata Moicano. He got caught with a jab, and then he just got submitted from there. And then after following that loss, he fought Shane Burgos, which Shane Burgos is a big 145er. I think he's 5'11". Fight day, he's at least 165. That guy's huge. There's a big size difference, but Cub Swanson fought a good fight, back and forth, came to a split decision, but unfortunately he got another loss. So pressure on the line for Cub Swanson, 4 losses in a row. There comes a little bit of pressure, a lot of rumors he's about to get cut. He's the journeyman. Again, he's facing a lot of adversity. So he takes a fight against Cron Gracie, who was actually a pretty good prospect. He was 5-0 in UFC. His debut win was against Alex Caceres. He got an easy first round submission. So we can see what the UFC was trying to do. Going up against a grappler who gets easy submissions. Cubs has problems against grapplers, and he gets submitted quite a bit. So on paper, Cub takes this fight. He comes in as the underdog. So interesting fact about that fight with Cron Gracie. Cub Swanson, seeing that his last 4 losses, 2 of them were via submission. He actually was trying to take some jiu-jitsu classes to, brush up on takedown defense, sharpen the tools, learn some new tricks. So he was banned from multiple jiu-jitsu academies. They wouldn't train him again just because he was facing a Gracie. So Cub Swanson came into this fight with a big chip on his shoulder, and he wanted to prove something to Cron. Well, come fight day, Cron, I don't know if he was hanging with the Diaz brothers a little too much, because Cron looked like a walking punching bag. Cub Swanson proved and showed to the whole world he still has great stand-up, shows great volume, he has great head movement. Cron Gracie, who's known to be a submission artist, he only goes for 2 takedowns. Cub stuffs both of them, and they kind of just go back and forth on the feet, but Cron Gracie's just taking punch after punch. Credits to him, he did make the fight interesting. They went at it a couple times, but just a high volume. Cub was throwing out 4 to 5 punches. Cron was just eating them and then throwing maybe 2 back. Take a look at the fight again, UFC Tampa. It was just back and forth, but Cub got the better of him, and he ultimately got the decision win. So great victory for Cub Swanson. So who does he fight next? So Cub Swanson takes on Daniel Pineda next. If you don't know who Daniel Pineda is, he was a UFC journeyman back in the day. Long story short, Gilbert Burns has a little brother, Herbert Burns. He was a big UFC prospect. If you don't know who Herbert Burns is, he was on Dana White's Contender Series Season 3. He got a great submission, got a contract. He won his next 2 fights via TKO. So he's on a pretty good win streak. He takes on Daniel Pineda. He's actually gone from mixed martial arts for about 4 to 5 years. He comes back, fights Herbert Burns, knocks Herbert Burns down the second round, and gets the TKO victory in the second. It was kind of a big upset. No one expected that. So you got seasoned vet Cub Swanson against another seasoned vet, Daniel Pineda. Should be a good match. I think a lot of people underestimate Cub Swanson because during his last 5 to 6 fights, he really doesn't get that many knockdowns. And Pineda being the bigger man against Cub Swanson, I guess he didn't think there's that much power. So what happens in the fight? They go back and forth. End of the first round, Cub Swanson actually knocks down Daniel Pineda. The bell saves him. So going to the second round, Cub Swanson pretty much outstruck Daniel Pineda. He dropped him again, and then he just finished it on the ground. A great win for Cub Swanson. So he's running on a high right now. He has 2 wins. So you look at Cub Swanson's next fight. He's going to be fighting Giga Chikadze, 12-2, had a hell of a 2020. He was 4 for 4. Keywords are consistency, and he was basically staying active. He beat Jamal Emmers, split decision March 7th, then takes on Erwin Rivera, got the win by decision May 16th. And then after a win over Morales, he gets a nice TKO round 1 victory over James Simmons. Look, if you look at the competition, Cub Swanson's face over Giga, that's where you kind of see a big difference here. But then credit to Giga, he had a great 2020. I don't think he can actually pick who his opponents are. He kind of takes whoever's out there. But given the experience, the high-level competition Cub Swanson's face, he has such great stand-up, great fight IQ. I think his ground game's underrated. I'm going Cub Swanson here, round 3 finish, either TKO or knockout. But call me a fanboy, I don't give a fuck. I'm going Cub Swanson to win this. Carlos, who do you have in this one?
So, I know Cub's your boy, and he's on a streak. He's on a high, but Giga Chikadze, I mean, like you said, doesn't have the resume that Cub has, but Giga's kind of on a hot streak. He's won 7 in a row, albeit, like I said, not the same level of competition, but when a fighter's, got it, he's got it. He's up and coming, working his way up through the UFC. Like you said, he had a great 2020, and he has some solid stand-up. So as far as Cub, I mean, Cub's up there in age. He's up there in miles. Suffered some bad defeats, but you can never count Cub out, especially in the way he performed against Daniel Pineda. The striking's pretty good, pretty crisp. He still has it. It's just just how Giga comes out, and Cub is just past his prime. I mean, obviously. And I think with a guy like Giga Chikadze, who's 32, he's in the prime of his career. He's on a 7-fight win streak. He's 6 feet, fighting at 145, and he has KO power. He can also submit you. Probably not to the level of Cub Swanson, as Cub Swanson is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But Giga is, in the betting odds in Vegas, he's a -160 favorite. So I think in this fight, I'm going to pick the favorite. I'm picking Giga Chikadze to win via TKO round 2.
Okay. No, respect to Giga. He has an amazing fight winning streak he's on right now. You're on a high, you're on a high. Cub, I hate to say it, he is a journeyman, but I'm just a big fan. I've never seen a boring fight besides a Frank Edgar, who's a little gun shy, but Cub always brings it to the table. When he's the underdog, he likes to shut everyone up and prove what he's all about. I think it's on the co-main for a reason, not only in the name of Cub Swanson, but just both these fighters are gonna be on the feet. They're gonna duel it back and forth. I can't wait to see it.
So in the main event for UFC Vegas 25, we have Dominick Reyes versus Jiri Prochaska, who's a brand new UFC fighter, but he's been in the game for a while. He has some skins on the wall in the Rizin promotion, and he's a bit of a knockout artist. He's a bit of a showman. and is a very entertaining fighter to watch. In fact, his first fight in the UFC against Volkan Ozdemir, as you may know if you've watched his fights, Volkan Ozdemir is also a KO artist. You know, when he was first coming up in the UFC, he pulled out an impressive streak, was just knocking dudes out, you know, on his way to a title shot against DC. You know, unfortunately, once he faced DC, you know, reality set in. There's levels to the game, and he got finished on the ground. Since then, you know, Ozdemir, you know, has had his ups and downs in his career. And when I saw the fight against Jiri, first of all, it was entertaining, extremely entertaining. They went back and forth. Jiri is just, he's a showman. He's very unorthodox. He's very awkward. His strikes just, you don't really see him coming. They come from awkward angles, different angles, and he likes to eat shots. So he has a hell of a chin, and he does have power. There were several times where he stunned Ozdemir, and then there's times where he got caught as well. So eventually he won that fight. He knocked Ozdemir out cold in the second round. But, you know, watching him, I feel like he's a crazy guy. And obviously to be that entertaining, to fight that type of style, you have to have a certain amount of crazy in you. So being that crazy personality that he has, that devil may cry style, that, you know, just I'm me and I'm gonna do my thing and try to knock you out. He's going against Dominick Reyes. Dominick Reyes, he is reeling a little bit. He lost to John Jones and he lost to Jan Blachowicz. But, you know, he lost to John Jones and Jan Blachowicz, the past two light heavyweight champions. You know, John Jones being the pound for pound #1 fighter right now, and Jan Blachowicz, who is still the light heavyweight champion, who just beat Izzy and outstruck Izzy in his last fight. So with those two losses on Reyes' belt, you know, it's nothing to hang your hat on. He performed well in the John Jones fight. You know, unfortunately, the Jan Blachowicz fight was over pretty quickly. He got KO'd, but I think in this fight, he comes back. Reyes has solid striking. Before the John Jones and Jan Blachowicz fight, he was on a 12-fight win streak. He's beat the likes of, you know, Chris Weidman, Volkan Ozdemir, OSP, Jared Cannonier, who's a big contender in the middleweight division. So I would like to see him bounce back in this fight. I think he has solid striking. He's very technical. He knows when to pick his shots. He knows, you know, when to go in and when to come out. I'm not sure if he's going to play Jiri's game as far as, you know, going strike for strike and, you know, just being silly in the ring. I think he's going to play it methodically and pick apart Jiri. So I'm picking Reyes to win this. I think he gets a third round KO. What do you think, Alec?
Well, touching on what you said earlier, he does have 2 losses, but again, look who they're from. He went the distance with John Jones. I was really surprised in that fight how it was unanimous decision. I thought at least split decision. And a lot of people actually think Reyes got the better of John Jones a couple of rounds. You know, the fight with Blachowicz, second round knockout, it was pretty tough to see, but I think you're right. He's going to fight this a little smarter, be a little more technical. He has the experience. He's been in main events before. I'm going to say Dominick Reyes round 4 finish. Now, credit to Prochaska, what he's done in Rizin. He won the belt over there, had a nasty win streak, a lot of TKOs and knockouts. And it's kind of amazing how much they have on this guy. Your UFC debut is against a former title contender, Ozdemir, and then your next fight is against a title contender, Dominick Reyes. I don't know how much hype they have around this guy, but that's a tough 2 first fights in the UFC. I've never seen anyone do that before. But going back to the Ozdemir fight, he does kind of just rushes at you, and they do stand and trade. It looks like he has a decent chin on him. But against Dominick Reyes, again, I think he's going to be a little more technical. He's going to take his time. He's been in this situation before. I think he gets the win. Like I said, round 4 finish. We'll see how it goes. Looks like a hell of a main event. I can't wait to see it.
All right, guys. So that's our takes on the main event and the co-main event for UFC Vegas 25. Let us know how you feel. Let us know how you think the fight's going to go down in the comment section below. And if you like this sort of content, we'd really appreciate if you'd like and subscribe for further videos, other content that we have upcoming. You know, as you know, upcoming we got UFC 262, and we have our first boxing video coming up with a big fight on May 8th, Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. So if you could also follow us on our social media accounts, we got Instagram and Twitter. You can hit us up there, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Take it easy. Bye, guys.